Yesterday, we talked about relationship struggles over in South Korea and the growing 4B movement, growing rapidly. They're hitting very, very high numbers. About 4,000 of them now. Wow, that's something else. 4,000. Wow. Anyways, so we're going to Japan this time, and we have a write-up from Japan Times titled "Parasite Singles: Why Young Japanese Aren't Getting Married." Let's take a look. A sharply dressed crowd of singles shuffle awkwardly around conference room tables, exchanging small talk and CVs in an attempt to find a marriage partner, all of them accompanied by their parents. Now, right away, that doesn't sound like it's a very likely event to work out very well. I mean, it's basically, I guess it sounds like a speed dating kind of thing. A bunch of people looking to date or find a partner, meeting up at this location, accompanied by their parents. That part's, I don't know, man. Let's continue on. One 38-year-old woman who declined to give her name said she didn't have the courage to find a spouse and move away from her mother, who had come with her to the matchmaking party. A quote, "I didn't have good opportunities to meet someone," she explained, adding, "My workplace has lots of women, but not many men." Roughly half a quarter of Japanese between 20 and 49 years old are single, according to government data. And while people of this age routinely express a wish to get married, outdated social attitudes and increasing economic pressure is making tying the knot more and more difficult, experts say. Sociology professor Masahiro Yamada from Tokyo's Chuo University said that the norm of single people living with their parents until marriage means there is less immediate pressure to find a partner. I mean, yes and no. Like, if your parents are driving you crazy and you don't want to go home because they're driving you crazy, and you're old enough, you have a job, you're old enough to go out and do whatever you want and look for someone to date. I mean, I can see that being the opposite, but I'm just kind of looking at both sides. Let's continue. They think it's a waste of time to have a relationship with someone who does not meet their conditions and can't afford to wait for a better catch, he said, dubbing these people parasite singles. Although long-term financial security with a husband or wife is seen as important, the difficulty of finding affordable housing adds to the incentive to stay with mom and dad, he said. Now, let me also add what I was talking about, the example I was making. I'm not just saying like date. I'm saying like, date and then move in together and share the costs and that sort of thing. Maybe eventually get married, whatever it is. One 74-year-old man at the party, on the hunt for a suitable bride for his 46-year-old son, pointed to another problem: overcoming shyness. Dude, the problem here is that these people are going to like blind date things with their parents. Like, what's going on here? Another quote: "My son is a salesman. He's good at dealing with customers, but he is very hesitant when it comes to women," said the father. I don't think the father going to help him find a partner is helping that shyness. Why was his son not looking for himself? He was too busy with work. What are you going to do? The father said his eldest daughter was married, but his youngest, a doctor living in the U.S., is single at the age of 34. He said he is worried for her, as I've heard it is hard for female doctors to find partners. Shigeki Matsuda, a sociology professor at Chukyo University in Aichi Prefecture, blames the country's falling marriage rate on a phenomenon known as hypergamy. Another quote: "Japanese women tend to seek men with stable employment and education levels higher than them," he explained. Anecdotal evidence from the matchmaking party seemed to bear this out. A small queue of women forming to exchange contact details with one of the men who, it emerged, had the highest income of the group. Now, what's funny here is the article we were reading yesterday about South Korea. One of the ladies who was complaining about not being able to find a relationship said that, in her opinion, she said that men did not care about. Actually, no. What she said, more closely, still paraphrased, was that having a degree and a good job, I think specifically the degree part though, was a minus point. So not only did it not affect the dating, she said it was like a minus point, a negative point for her. So it's the opposite of what we're seeing here, more or less. So I guess let's just continue on. Here we go. Anecdotal evidence, we got that. The high ratio of unmarried men and women won't change unless more women accept the idea of marrying a man with a lower income than herself, Yamada said. In addition, many people meet future spouses in the office in workaholic Japan, and there are fewer opportunities as jobs become more precarious. In the decades after World War II, Japan rebuilt its economy largely via huge corporations offering adulterated workers a job for life. but that pattern is changing rapidly and job security is declining. Since the early 1990s, the ratio of non-permanent and contract employees has risen from about 15% to just below 40%, according to Labor Ministry statistics. Lower levels of income and an increase in the number of extremely unstable jobs, with the fear of getting sacked at any time, are not helping people to think about getting married and having a family, said Shuichiro Sekine, head of a trade union representing contract workers. Even if these were, so far it just seems like a lot of speculation, honestly. I don't know what to really make of this. It's just speculation, really. Even if these workers hope to find a partner with less job security and lower income comes less chance of finding a spouse. Hold up. I probably read that wrong. Hold up. Even if these workers hope to find a partner with less job security and lower income comes less chance of finding a spouse. Okay. 6 out of 10 salarymen between age 30 and 34, 30 to 34, were married as of 2017, according to a government study issued this year, compared to only 22% of male contract workers in the same demographic. Those at the Tokyo matchmaking party are the lucky ones, Sekine said. Those on lower incomes wouldn't even think about attending. Despite those barriers, do such events help? Shoji Wakusaka, head of the association hosting the party, said there was no firm data, but there had been some success if limited. What? This is the head of the association hosting the party, where oh my gosh. Already, I think some of you guys are probably laughing at this. No offense to anyone who may have been to a dating party with your parents. Okay, maybe a little bit of offense. Come on. That's a bit out there. It really is. So, I don't know. It sounds silly, and the head even says there's no data backing it being successful. No firm data, but there was some success, if limited. So not only do you say some success, you're not saying success, you're saying some success, and even then you're going further, making the caveat, if limited. That's like saying if you jump off that cliff, you probably won't be happy when you reach the bottom. And I don't know. I'm trying to think of a really bad analogy, but it's not working. You get the idea, though. That's kind of crazy. About 2% of participants on average find a spouse. 2%? Oh my gosh. One single woman at the party said it was an efficient place to meet others who want to get married. That's what I mean. It's a bunch of opinions and stuff. When we get the actual data here, I think this some of the only actual statistics we've had here is that this event doesn't work very well. You can't exactly ask a passerby if they're married, her mother added. A marriage counselor at the party, Noriko, by the way, that quote, I'm just going to assume that the mother's not talking about people at that event. Because, they probably wouldn't be married at that event. And surely, if you thought that they were, you could ask if they were to be sure or not. If it's a dating event, so I'm assuming that they're just talking, the mother's talking about, in general. A marriage counselor at the party, Noriko. There's just so much to say about that. I want to go back to that for a second almost. Yeah, you can't just go up to a passerby and be like, are you married? That'd be weird. But if it's someone you're interested in, I don't know. Let's just read. I'm going to keep getting sidetracked. We have literally 2 paragraphs left. A marriage counselor at the party, Noriko Miyogashi, implored would-be lovebirds to forget the finances and focus on Cupid's arrow. You shouldn't be making a lot of conditions, she told participants. I hope you choose the one you genuinely feel you'll be able to get along with. And that's the end of the article. That's how it wraps up. So, I guess the takeaway is dating in Japan is a bit rough. Same for South Korea. And it's interesting because a lot of these things you hear about going on here in the U.S. as well. So I don't know. I really don't know what to make of all this. This is mostly an opinion piece, I feel like. So I don't have much else to add. I'm going to wrap this video up here. I hope you found this at least interesting. I don't know. I expect a little more out of this article, honestly. The Parasite singles thing sounded really interesting, but I don't know. That's all I got for this one. I'll see you guys in a few hours or so. Catch you then.